Hari Om. Let's start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. So we are analyzing now who am I or what's my true nature. So when I say I am obviously a conscious entity and I am existent entity. So I am not looking for consciousness or existence, and what I am looking for is Anandam, because I do not know that I am the source of happiness also. So Vedanta is trying to point out that not only I am the source of happiness, I am the source of infinite happiness or the absolute happiness, and therefore there is no reason for me to look for anything. That means I am Purnam, and therefore I am Satchidanandam. And in the process of analyzing, so what's a Sakshi? So how is this world and who am I? What is this Panchakoshas and all that? Because I am equipped with the five koshas and I take myself as a Jivatma, somehow I am in the creation and I take myself as a local entity, and the local entity consists of these five koshas: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya koshas. These are things that I identify with in my transactions, and I take myself, I am this, because I do not know my true nature. So in the very I am this, there is a fundamental error involved, and that has to be recognized, because when I say I am equal to this, I am a subject and this is an object. So I am trying to identify a subject as equal to object, and subject can never be equal to object, and object can never become a subject, and this misidentification is the error, and the error is occurring due to not knowing who I am. I am identifying with this because I don't know who I am. So who am I inquiry becomes an essential inquiry to find out who we are before I make a false identification. Because the reason is that because these identifications, because this is continuously changing, so anything that is changing becomes this only. So both conversely are the one that we are talking about, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, all are changing things and finite things. So they are Drishyatvat, they are knowable things, and Drishyatvat, Bhautikatvat, they are material, and I am not a material because I am a conscious entity. So therefore, I am this, but any this is an object and I am a subject, and subject cannot become object and object cannot become a subject. And the qualities of the object essentially are irrespective of the nature of the object, and the object includes Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, the Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. All the koshas are objects because they are Drishyatvat, Bhautikatvat, Sagunatvat, Savikaratvat, Agamapayitvat. These five essential attributes qualify something as an object. Drishyatvat, it is knowable entity. Therefore, I am a knower and this is known. So known is different from the knower. So this is Drishyam. That means that it is knowable, whether the perceptually or inferentially, in one form or other, it can be known. Bhautikatvam, it's made of material, whether it's a gross material or subtle material. Even the mind is and all buddhi are material only from the point of Vedanta. So it is essentially Bhautikatvam, and it has a Sagunatvam. The qualities are there, and we discuss exhaustively each one, the qualities of the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. all have properties, and therefore they are with savikaram, they continuously changing, and therefore they come and go, therefore anityam. And all this is essentially, I take myself, I am this, and there is a pure I am which is different from this, that is a subject, and we call that as a Sakshi. Sakshi is the one who is witnessing of this. So that because of which I am conscious of everything, but I cannot be conscious of myself because I am not an object of myself. I am self-conscious entity in the sense that I know I am without any means also. That is the nature of the conscious entity itself. So, according to Vedanta, it's pure consciousness is infinite, and it's of the nature of Satchidananda, and that part of consciousness that is getting illumined in the local entity, and that we call it a Sakshi. So Sakshi is not different from the total consciousness, that is I am. So when I say I am Sakshi, because I know what's happening, so I am the knower, but who exactly is a knower is we analyze carefully in terms of the three components that are there in making up a knower. Number one, the Sakshi, that is consciousness, because everything else is inert, and to know something I should be conscious of. Therefore, consciousness has to be there, but consciousness is infinite. Therefore, scripture says, Prajnanam Brahma. Consciousness is infinite. So it's defined in a converse way. Converse way, as we discussed before, means it is a necessary and sufficient qualification for it to be. That means wherever there is a consciousness, it has to be Brahman only. It cannot but be Brahman. And that's exactly what it means as Swarupa Lakshanam. Swarupa Lakshana means it's a necessary and sufficient define that H2O is a Swarupa Lakshanam of water. Means water is equal to H2O, H2O is water. Same way, consciousness is Brahman, and Brahman is consciousness, and that which has to be existent, and we're not talking about non-existent consciousness. Therefore it is Sat and Chit, and there is nothing other than the consciousness, because Prajnanam Brahma. Consciousness is infinite. Therefore, there cannot be anything other than consciousness. If there is something other than consciousness, it's only an apparent but not really real. So all that is implied because of the Vedantic teaching, and therefore I am, that consciousness that I am is, although all pervading, is only getting illumined in the local entity through the buddhi. So in the total knowing process, entity is required to know anything, and the consciousness is coming from the pure consciousness reflected in the buddhi, and therefore buddhi has a capacity to reflect consciousness, and therefore buddhi is also become intelligent or able to know things through reflected consciousness. So who is the knower here? At the first step, it's a buddhi who is the knower. Buddhi is inert, so it cannot know. So we need a activated buddhi, that means reflected conscious entity, Chidabhasa, along with the buddhi is a knower. But reflected consciousness cannot be there unless there is an original consciousness, and therefore that is total Satchidanandam. But total Satchidanandam is all pervading, so we take that part of Satchidanandam as though, because the pure existence is partless, which is infinite, but for the purpose of transactions and explanation, we take that part of the pure consciousness that is falling as though on the buddhi and enlivening it or getting reflected. It's like, we said, like a pure sunlight all over, but that part of sunlight that's falling on the moon is only getting reflected by the moon, although the sunlight is partless from the point of the total sunlight. Therefore, Sakshi is itself is the localized all-pervading consciousness as though, and getting reflected, and without Sakshi there cannot be any reflection, and without a reflection Buddhi is inert by itself, therefore no knowledge takes place. So who is a knower? All these three packaged together is a knower. Of these three packaged together, the reflected consciousness and the Buddhi continuously changing, and therefore they are come under Drishyatvam and Bhautikatvam, then Sagunatvam, Savikaratvam, Agamapayitvam. All those, therefore, they are objects inert by themselves, and I am a conscious entity, therefore it is Sakshi that is essentially lens because of which everything is known. But from the Sakshi point, it's only Sakshi, means witnessing consciousness. It doesn't participate in this, in the witnessing also. It is by just being there, by its mere presence, the whole thing is occurring. So we have to understand all this. Therefore it's only mithya only. All this is only apparent things only, and apparent is only apparent. If I take the apparent as a real, that is what samsara is. So all that has to be kept in mind all the time, because this is what the description, whenever we take, we have to understand this Sakshi versus the Sakshyam. From the Sakshi point, Asangaha, it is immaculately pure and never gets affected by it. And therefore, the objection was raised, for example, says, why not it get affected? When I look somebody suffering, then even though I am not suffering, I see somebody suffering, and that affects me. Therefore, the Sakshi also should get affected, because he is doing Sakshi. The Sakshitvam is there, and by looking at it, it gets affected too. Says no. If that is the case, then Ishvara must be affected a lot more, because he is looking at the whole universe and everybody is suffering mostly, and if he is looking at from that point, then Lord must be suffering a lot. But that's not the case, because I can be looking at it but not affected by it, and that's what is called asangaha. So Sakshi is asanga, unattached, and therefore the pure consciousness is unaffected by what is happening at the local level or at the global level also. Ishvara is not affected by what's happening to the whole world. Therefore, maya tadamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina mastani sarva bhutani. Then he says, nachaham teshu avastitaha. I am not affected there by avasthas. All beings are in me, and beings undergo their sufferings. But even though they are in me, I am unaffected by it, because I am asangoham, 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 punah, punaha. Sadananda rupoham ahamevaham avyaha. So I am unattached am I. That immaculately pure I am. Therefore, even though I am a Sakshi, being asangaha means unattached, I am unaffected by what's happening through the reflected consciousness or through the changing things in the world. And that has to be understood. And therefore, when we're looking at this sloka 218, it says, Ataha sarvam swayam sakshat pratyagatmana chetaraha. So, Ataha sarvam swayam sakshat pratyagatmana chetaraha. Aso swapakshiko bhave yataha anubhuyate. So the Sakshi cannot be known because it's infinite itself. It's not an object of knowledge to start with. And Ataha param swayam sakshat. I am supreme consciousness also, and pratyagatmana chetaraha. I am also the one that illumines the local equipment, the inner Atma also I am. And that has to be understood. So now we have the totality from the point of pure consciousness and the locality from the point of Vyashti is being analyzed, and the equation is Jivatma is not different from Paramatma. Jivatma is the one who is unaffected by what's happening there, but because of the lack of knowledge, he identifies with the equipments Upadhi and say, I am affected. So it's only avidya, it's only lack of knowledge, and therefore avidya can be eliminated by vidya. And once the vidya means I recognize that I was never affected even before also. So I am Brahman even before, when I thought I was only Jivatma. All that has to be understood. And this is explained in the Sloka 219. So I am the Brahman, I am the totality itself has to be understood. So in 219, Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputataram Yasau Samudrumbate. Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputataram Yasau Samudrumbate. Samudrumbate. Pratyagrupataya sadahamahami achyanta kada. Pratyagrupataya sadaham iti achyanta kada. Nanakara vikara bhajinaiman pasyannaham dhimukan. Nanakara vikara bhajina iman pasyannaham dhimukan. Nityananda chidatmana spurati tam viddhi swammetam hrudi. Nityananda chidatmana spurati tam viddhi swemetam hrudi. This is Sloka 219. So he goes in a different meter. So Jagras Swapna Sushuptishu Sputataram Yasau Samudrumbate. So Jagrat, waking state, Swapna, the dream state, Sushupti, in the dream state. So all three states of consciousness, Sputataram Yaha Asau Samudrumbate. So it's essentially illumines Samudrumbate. It illumines everything. Asau. So I am that Sakshi which illumines all the three states of consciousness. Jagrat Swapna Sushupturu Sputataram Yaha Asau Samudrumbate. Pradyak Rupataya Sada Aham Iti Achyanta Spuran Ekada. Pratyak Rupataya. So essentially by innermost self, that in that form, Sada Aham Iti. So I am, like that. So anytime I say I am, I start, and who is saying that? I am the self that is innermost. Innermost means the essence here. And aham iti achyanta spuran ekada. That one itself is expressing in so many states of consciousness. So I am a waker, I am a dreamer, I am a deep sleeper. So states are changing, but I am the changeless entity. So changing things is not I am, because I claim I am the one who is awake, I am the one who slept, I am the one. So I am is changeless entity, while states are changing. So states or Drishyatvam, Bhautikatvam, Sagunatvam, Savikaratvam, Agamapayitvam, all that is applicable to like any objects. And Nana Akara Vikara Bhajina Iman Pasyan Aham Dhimukan. So Nana Akara Vikara Bhajina Iman. So all these modifications of the Prakriti that here from the point of the body, mind and intellect, or Annamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, all are Prakriti. Prakriti means they undergo continuously change. So all the changes I am conscious of. Therefore, I am a knower of all the changes, and the knower is different from known. That's the fundamental law. Therefore, I am different from that. At the same time, without me, without me, their modifications cannot be known. So Nana Akara Vikara Bhajana Imam. So all these objects or pasyan or being seen is that by aham, that ahankara and the intellect. So that is the Vijnanamaya Kosha and Mukhan. So through so many ways I am conscious of I am knower, I am this, and so that's how our whole biodata is only I am this claiming all this. So this is Nana Akara Vikaraha. All those, this continuously changing. I keep modifying my biodata all the time for different jobs, which means that those are modifications, and I am the one who is conscious of that, and therefore I am different from it, but I claim I am that also. So aham, dhi, mukhan. So aham is ahankara and dhi is the intellect, and so on. Intellect means intellect, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, all koshas are involved. And nityananda chidatmana spurati tam viddhi swam metam hadi. So I am different from this because they are knowable entities and I am a knower. A knower is different from being known. Therefore, what is my nature? I am not the changing entity, I am the changeless entity. In the equation, Sakshi plus the reflected consciousness plus the reflecting medium, only thing that is changeless is Sakshi, but everything else is continuously changing. The medium of reflection changing, therefore reflection is also changing, and therefore I am the changeless entity. So Nityananda Chidatmana Spurati. So I am Nityam Anandam. I am always happy. So I am looking for happiness, but here I recognize that I am the very source of happiness, because my Ananda is not a reflected happiness, but I am the pure happiness because I am limitless, and limitless alone is Anantam Eva Anandam, because any limitations cause suffering. So it is Nityam and Anandam and also Chidatmam, that is of the essential nature of consciousness itself, that which knows everything but itself cannot be known by any means. That spurati tam viddhi swam etam hrudi. That has to be known, or that has to be recognized. Viddhi, know that I am is the essence, where in the hrudi, in the very heart of your this one, you have to recognize that I am the total. And we'll go into more details of this in the next talk. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.